This is the debut title from Mexican developer Navegante Entertainment. It is a gorgeous game, featuring excellent hand-drawn animation. The music, though not plentiful, is full of emotion and wonder. Let's see then if the design and gameplay hold up their end of the bargain in our review of Greak, Memories of Azur. The main concept behind this action platformer is that you control, eventually, 3 siblings, 2 brothers and a sister, each of which has its own unique strengths and weaknesses. First up is Greak, whose small stature and agility help him reach areas the others can't. Armed with a sword and bow, he is solid in combat, and his double jump ability makes him great for platforming. Adara is a mage, and she uses a short-range magic attack as her main combat ability. Lacking a double jump, she instead can hover a la Peach in Super Mario Bros. 2, though it is for a very short period of time at the beginning. Last up, and I can't show him because the embargo doesn't allow for video this far into the game, is Raydell, the sword and board style fighter. He is a late unlock, and I didn't actually get to him until after 6.5 hours into the game. He is by far the strongest in combat, and he has a hookshot ability to help him traverse the environment. A game similar to this would be something like Trine. You would control one character at a time, and then in co-op play, you could have all 3 going at once. The main difference being, when you weren't controlling the characters, they simply didn't exist in the game world. Greak changes this up though, as you routinely have 2 or 3 characters at your disposal and they are always there. A press of the left trigger will get any character near you to start mimicking your button presses, and the right trigger will have your uncontrolled tunes regroup with you by running in a straight line. This, unfortunately, is where the game completely falls apart for me. The AI for this is non-existent. They simply mimic what you are doing and will constantly run to their deaths, get attacked nonstop, and do nothing except for their basic attack. They don't dodge when you do. It's just... most of the game ends up being you have to find a safe spot for anyone you're not controlling directly, while you then go off and clear out an area. And this doesn't work in certain places. Like the first boss fight, it requires you to have both of your characters in the fighting area, and since the controls are so terrible for using 2 at once, it leads to frustrating death after frustrating death. And there is no co-op, which in an Agent of Mayhem style choice is a massive mistake. The game simply is not fun to play most of the time because of how completely useless your non-controlled characters are. In many of the puzzles in the game, though, they will require you to have 2 or 3 characters there, doing things such as moving blocks or rotating cranks. You choose one character, you use that item, then you swap characters, move through a gate, grab another item that keeps the door open, swap back to the first character, run through the gate, then swap to the second character and let the gate fall. And this happens dozens of times, and it was fun for the first few. It quickly grew stale, and the fact that when one of your 2 or 3 characters dies, it's game over, makes the entire system an utter mess. You only have 4 pips of health to start, and you can lose them very quickly. A halfway decent checkpoint system would make this somewhat bearable if you could go quickly back into the action. But in the choice for this game, they instead only use save stones. Sometimes very spread out save stones, so you can lose 10, 15, hell, I lost 30 minutes of progress one time. And what happens if you beat a boss and say your power goes out, or the cat hits your power button, or you die before finding the next save stone? You lose all that progress and you must do it all over again. At least that's what happened to me. It takes what is already a badly designed game in some ways and cranks the frustration up to the absolute max. The combat is very basic. It's not very fun or nuanced either, especially until you get Raydell. It's a spam fest. You simply hit your attack button as quickly as possible to stagger your enemies. And the things do get better with Raydell, but it's never what I would call anything close to deep or fun. Another major issue is I would constantly attack in the wrong direction. If facing left, occasionally I would press attack, and instead of swinging left, I would swing right, and vice versa. It's not all bad though, and that's what makes everything so much more disappointing in the end, because at the very least it is a very pretty game. The main thing that grabbed my and most people's eye when the game was initially revealed was just how great looking it is. The backgrounds are fine, but the animation on the player characters and enemies is fantastic. The various short cutscenes showcase the same hand-drawn style, and it is constantly and incredibly frustrating that something so good-looking is part of a game that I found so unsatisfying to play. Matching the graphics is a similarly great soundtrack. There can be long swaths of playtime where nothing's playing, but when the music does kick in, it is really something. There are also some strange cuts in and out of the soundtrack though, which can be jarring. It simply cuts in or out. There's no fade in or out at times. The game has no voice acting, but the sound effects get the job done, and the balance of it all is okay. I found the setup of the story to be something quite like the Dark Crystal. You are a kinder, peace-loving race, and the more brutish and uglier race is destroying your lands and killing your people. One of the only things that kept me going was a genuine interest in how things would play out. The fast travel system is tied to the in-game currency and can be easily missed at times, as there are two types of stones. You have the smaller save stones and the larger fast travel ones. In a few areas, I missed the larger ones and I had to stumble around the map to find them later on. It was maddeningly frustrating. Adding to that frustration is the fact that you can fast travel with one character and accidentally leave the one or two other characters behind. Because if you don't make sure that everyone is in range to touch the stone when you press B, you are forced to wait through another loading screen to get back to your other characters and then take them through the stone for another 10 gems. There's so many of these types of quality of life issues, and it's found in every single system of the game. Each character has their own small inventory, which becomes a real pain to manage, and the food and potion crafting system suffers greatly from all the juggling you have to do. During combat, if you want to regain health, you have to make sure you're on the character, and then eat something, and then wait 3 or 5 seconds for it to kick in. Invariably, this game just always becomes frustrating in some different way, and there's a few small fixes that would help it be something legitimately good. Another final issue is that for some reason, and I'm hoping it's something as simple as a lack of resources, is that this game is only on the new generation of consoles. There's nothing on display here that would keep it from running on something as far back as an original Xbox from what I can tell, let alone an Xbox One. I mean, the platforms at launch are Switch, PC, and then Series X and S, and the lack of a release on Xbox One and PS4 is mystifying. In conclusion, Greak Memories of Azur could have been something special. Unfortunately, a large number of questionable design decisions pull down every positive aspect in a way that the game simply cannot overcome. The core design of how you control your 2 to 3 characters is not enjoyable, but the quality is there in almost every other aspect, and I hope that either through further patches for this game or in their next title, that Navigante Entertainment gets the gameplay part of things right. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe as it really does help the channel out. And if you do subscribe, please tick that little bell so you know whenever we post. And we'll see you here next time on XboxEra.